Hey everybody, real quick, if you need a recap of The Night Agent Season 1, I've got you covered. Just hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner, and it'll take you right to it. Now, Season 2 picks up 8 months after the events of Season 1. Peter is fully immersed in night action, and he's working in Bangkok. He's even got a partner. Her name is Alice. And at the moment, they're posing as newlyweds, but what they're actually doing is tracking a government employee that they think is selling secrets to another foreign government. They're doing a really good job of staying off this guy's tail, while also keeping a very close eye on him, and that's when they see it. They see the drop. They watch Warren, the government employee, walk up to a bald guy, which neither of them recognize, and that is a problem. They don't see whether or not there was an exchange of anything, so they have to tell both of them. Peter takes Warren, the government employee, and Alice takes the new bald guy. It takes a little bit, but Peter does in fact see Warren drop something off in a flower bed. He's then able to confirm that the item is a flash drive when he sees a random guy he's also never seen before pick that flash drive up. He's also noticed a fellow who's wearing nothing but white and keeping a keen eye on him. Again, someone Peter doesn't recognize. Peter, however, is just a horse with blinders at this point. He's following the guy with the thumb drive, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. All the while, he's keeping Alice abreast of the situation because they have radios. It's while following this guy that Peter gets made. He starts getting shot at. He has to shoot back. And while trying to evade bullets, he tells Alice, "I'm made." And it's about 2 seconds later that Alice also gets made. Realizing they're in a jam, Alice calls for an extraction. She calls the night agent. After getting the location of the extraction point, they're both trying to figure out exactly how either of them got made. They can't figure it out. It makes no sense. They finally do see each other, and they're both about to head to the extraction point when Alice gets shot and killed. Peter runs into a building, and he also calls the night agent. He lets the new guy know that Alice is dead, and he needs the extraction to be hurried up a bit. That's because he's got 3 guys on top of him. It's only a matter of time before they bust in and they find him. He tells the new guy to put him through to his handler named Catherine, because he wants to let her know that somebody burned them. Somebody knew about the extraction point, about what was going on, and she needs to find out who did because there's a chance he doesn't make it out alive. Shortly after telling Catherine that Alice is dead, he has to hang up because those 3 goons are on top of him. They throw grenades. Peter narrowly survives, but he is able to escape, and he goes on the run because he doesn't know who he can trust. A month after this, Peter still is missing. No one in the States has heard from him, and that, by the way, includes Rose, who hasn't heard from him since he was on that tarmac. But everything that's happened to Rose has forced her into deep therapy that isn't really working. She's dealing with PTSD and just a lot of overall stress, anxiety, like you name it. She's trying very hard to get on with her life, but it's difficult. She has, by the way, taken a new job. She's a programmer with a company that essentially is able to take a photo ID of somebody from a public camera and creates for them a precise advertising profile based on their online history. And Adverse, the name of it, is super high tech, and apparently it's the best of its kind. But during a pitch to a potential investor, Rose is getting distracted because her phone keeps ringing. And when she looks at it, it just says international unknown. But after putting it to voicemail twice, it calls again, and at this point, Rose can't ignore it any longer. She steps outside and she takes the call. The voice on the other end says, "Hi, I'm looking for Peter Sutherland. Do you know where he is? He's in trouble, and I really want to help him." And a concerned Rose says, "Where is he? How do you know him?" But this mystery man on the other end just says, "Has he tried to contact you recently?" Rose starts trying to figure out what's wrong with Peter, what happened to him, and who this voice on their end is. But he just tells her that he knows she cares about him, so he figured that maybe Peter would reach out, but he'll call her in a few days, and then he hangs up, leaving Rose completely confused. Rose, not knowing really who to call or what to do, does an ultimate power move. She calls Michelle Travers, the president. She tells her what happened. And Michelle has Catherine drop everything and head to meet with Rose to find out what Rose knows. Rose starts asking questions about Peter, and Catherine explains that Peter works for her. He went missing about a month ago, complete AWOL status. And the only reason she's there is because Rose got a call from somebody regarding Peter, and this was a personal favor from the president. Rose, though, is so concerned with Peter that after debriefing Catherine on exactly what happened during this phone call, which isn't much, she starts demanding answers as to what they're doing to locate Peter because she's concerned. Catherine gets real with Rose and says, I'm one of the few people that knows exactly what happened at Camp David last year, and for that, you have my eternal thanks. But you are a civilian, and the answers you seek are not yours to have. If I find Peter, I'll let you know he's safe. But for now, drop the words night action from your vocabulary. She then hands Rose a card and says, if that voice calls again, contact me. And of course, if Peter calls again, contact me. But none of this is good enough for Rose. She heads into work, and using Adverse, she starts searching for Peter. It's completely against company protocol. You're not supposed to use it for this sort of thing, but she doesn't care. In her opinion, if the U.S. government isn't doing enough, well, she will. It takes all night, but Adverse works. It catches Peter in the background of some random girl's Instagram photo at a New York hospital. Now she has to get on a plane and go across country, so she gives her boss a bad excuse that her mom's having surgery, and she goes to locate Peter, who is in New York City. He's been monitoring Warren, the guy who made the drop in Bangkok. Well, he's been monitoring his old house. Warren doesn't live there, but Warren's ex-wife and Warren's kid live there. And what Peter's done in the last month is cozy up to that family and start coaching Warren's son in basketball. It's through teaching basketball that he was able to find out that Warren has been in contact with his son, Ethan, through a Telegram-esque app. That way Ethan can hide it from his mom, but yet still stay in contact with his dad. This is a huge breakthrough for Peter, who, by the way, is telling everybody his name's David. Well, it's a huge breakthrough for Pete David, because he knows that in order to find out exactly who burned them in Bangkok, Warren's their best option, and now he's got an in order to contact Warren. He just has to get Ethan's phone, which he's easily able to do while Ethan's shooting free throws. He just swaps his phone with Ethan's. When Peter gets alone, he opens up Ethan's phone and he starts chatting with Warren using that app, asking Warren when exactly they can meet up and see each other. Warren tells his son, or at least he thinks, that they can meet up tomorrow, and later on he'll send him details. Right on cue, the next day Ethan's dad texts Ethan's phone and says, hey, 9 o'clock, we'll meet at this location. But what Peter doesn't know is that Rose has arrived in New York, and using Adverse, she was able to locate the hospital, which led her to the basketball court, which led her to Ethan, who let her know, yeah, I think he swapped my phone with his by accident. We've been trying to get a hold of him, but we can't. And of course, Rose is kind of a hacker, so she's able to locate that phone, which thus leads her to Peter, who had to jump through a bunch of hoops from Warren. Warren didn't make it easy on Ethan to meet up with him. It was like, hey, meet at this location, get on a bus, get off at this stop. It was that sort of thing. The whole time he was covering his tracks just in case Ethan wasn't Ethan, which it turned out he wasn't. It was Peter the whole time. Eventually, though, Warren realizes that his son was not the person he was talking to. He takes off running, and Peter runs after him. They run into an abandoned opera house. They get into a scuffle, and Peter, who has Warren at gunpoint, tells him to get on the ground. But Warren realizes, wait, you need me alive, and he's once again able to escape. As Peter is trying to track him down and run after him, that's when he runs into Rose, and he's very surprised. He did not expect that. But before they can catch up, Peter and Rose get shot at by that bald guy back in Bangkok, the same one that initially spoke to Warren. While all of this is going on, Catherine headed back to Washington to give Michelle Travers an update. It's not just Michelle, though. It's the deputy director, Mosley, as well. And Catherine says the update is, we still don't know where he is. He went AWOL. And Michelle's a lot like Rose. She can't figure out exactly how the Bureau hasn't located Peter yet. Michelle then asks, have we figured out what happened in Bangkok yet? And Catherine says, we know some, but not enough. That's when she starts going in on Peter, because she never wanted Peter. She was always concerned with Peter, and that's because of Peter's history with his father. Michelle, though, makes it clear. Peter saved her life, she values that, and she knows that Peter wouldn't just go AWOL, working for another government or another agency, which seems to be a concern with Catherine, or at least she's not ruling it out. Catherine also says they don't know where Warren is. And that's when the president says, then you need to be in New York. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.